Yeah. Great grab.
So
Hi, I'm Elliot Trotter, Editor-in-Chief of Sockeye Magazine.
I'm Tyler Kinley, Captain of Seattle Sockeye.
Welcome to the warm-up, Sockeye Magazine's preview show for the 2011 Club Championships, brought to you by USA Ultimate.
We're here at 5 Ultimate headquarters in Seattle, Washington to bring you commentary, predictions, and opinions on the coming championships in Sarasota, Florida.
I'm here with Mike Lawler from Ultimate Project, Melissa Witmer from Ultimate Results, and Tyler Kinley to talk about the women's division. Thank you all for joining us today.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So what I want to start with was what the storylines of this season has been. In years past, it's often been a two-team race in a lot of ways. Riot, Fury, Fury, Riot. They've both remained strong this season as well, but a lot of other competitors have entered into that fray. So I'm just curious what the storylines of this season have been for you. And why don't we start with you, Mike?
Well, I've been mostly following on the East Coast, so following Brute Squad and their struggles through the season and turning it around at Northeast Regionals, following Capitals as they won Canadian Nationals, and then are trying to make a second push to USA or UPA Nationals, whatever it's called now. So I think the Brute beating Capitals at Northeast Regionals is going to be a big story, but I think Fury, Riot, Traffic this year are probably the teams to look for in the finals.
Well, I'm on the East Coast as well, and I'm a practice player for Scandal, so I'm a little bit biased sometimes. But it's been good to watch Scandal during practice and during the season. They're really stepping up their game. Had a disappointing showing at Virginia Fusion, but are looking a lot better now. And I'm really curious to see what's going to happen with the Capitals as well. What does it mean that they got beaten by Brute Squad at regionals? I don't know. I think that's kind of the big question, whether they're overseeded, underseeded, and what's going to happen with them. I think that's going to be an exciting story.
And Tyler, what have you been aware of? Obviously, competing in the open division, it makes it difficult to follow another division as well. But what are some of the lines that you've been following for women's?
Well, the Seattle Ultimate community is very tight, so I know a good amount about Riot, and for me, they have been really interesting to learn about this year. They have worked a lot on their mental game, and they have actually learned from sports psychologists who they've hired. I think you can see that in some of their results coming back from deficits, especially against Traffic early in the season at the showcase game at I think it was Solstice. They are a team that I think this year could topple Fury. Fury has the X factor of Maddie Zhang, who I think is the best coach in women's ultimate and maybe ultimate in general. He adds something to their offensive and defensive strategy that no other team has. So that'll be, I think those two stories for me have been the most compelling this year.
So the two stories being Riot and this new stability they've encountered, and also Fury and Maddie Zhang.
Fury with Maddie Zhang, I think he just adds something to that team that no other team has proven to have.
Okay. What do you two think about Fury and Riot as well? I think let's stick with that topic and talk about two of the favorites to win this tournament. Both these teams have had victories over each other all season. Fury has sort of ended on top with a regionals victory, whereas Riot has fallen a little short with a couple losses at regionals. How do we characterize these two teams in your opinions? Mike?
Well, I've got to see Riot play on tape, on Ulti Village tapes this year, and I didn't know that they were working with the sports psychologist. That's actually interesting to learn. But they do look strong. There's no doubt about that. And Fury's had a lot of turnover, and I would agree wholeheartedly with the comments about Matty as a coach. He's incredible, and his results speak for themselves. And I think he's had a lot of turnover this year too, which is even makes it even more remarkable how Fury's been able to be out there and coming in as the number 1 seed and probably the favorite once again. The one thing I don't know, not being close to Riot, is how the losing Rory at sectionals is going to affect them at nationals, because she's obviously brings a lot to the team.
Traffic is dangerous. I think in some of their top players, they have an incredible threat in Kira Fruit, and I think her ability to provide resets and to hit the inside out, especially the inside out flick. Their team seems to do that incredibly well across the board. Traffic, I mean, for me, it's a shock to see the Northwest region throwing the 1, 2, and 3 seeds at nationals, and yet those teams are considerably some of the best teams in the nation. So it's surprising, and yet at the same time, it isn't, because they've proven to be very strong. I've been very, very impressed with the Capitals, watching them, with Traffic, watching them at Solstice and regionals.
Mike, do you have any other notes on Traffic and what has made them successful this year?
Well, I haven't seen them this year. I saw them the last, I think 2 out of the last 3 years at nationals when I was coaching Brute Squad. They're a strong team, and it sounds like from reading the summary that Maddie wrote up, they picked up a few players this year. I think if had Capitals won the Northeast region, they would have been the 2 seed. So, it's only because of that upset that the Northwest got the top 3 seeds.
True.
But that's not taking anything away from the Northwest teams. They're obviously strong. But if Traffic's taken a step forward from where they were last year, I completely believe they're dangerous, because they were very dangerous in nationals last year.
Let's stay on that upset from Brute Squad over Capitals at regionals. That has affected the seeding of this tournament, and it has put Capitals in an interesting position in pool play. They're the 3rd seed in Pool B under Traffic and Showdown, so that makes a big difference. What can you say about Brute Squad? Obviously, you've been very close to Brute in the past, and what does that victory say about the team and how they've evolved this season?
Well, I think you have to give a lot of credit to the captains, 3 captains, Lisa Canner, Dory Zimstein, and Christy Kim, because 1, the team had a lot of turnover, and 2, they had unfortunately a tremendous amount of injuries this year. But the 3 of them laid out a plan for Brute at the beginning of the season and stuck with it. And actually, you have to give a lot of credit to the coach, Bill Rodriguez, too, who's done a lot with the team. And I think things finally came together for them, which is good. And hopefully they're going to take a step forward at nationals. And they're in a tough pool. The seeding was very difficult. There was no real right way to do it. So they have Fury and Nemesis. The Capitals Traffic game, to start things off on Thursday morning. I mean, congratulations to Traffic, to the 2 seed. You get to play Capitals first. So that's going to be a great game. That might be the best game out of all the games, all at nationals in the first round, Traffic Capitals.
Melissa, what are some of the other teams that you have your eye on that you've been paying attention to this season? Do Phoenix and Nemesis fit anywhere into your idea of teams that are going to make an impact?
Well, I think that Nemesis has been having some fairly good and consistent results, and they might be underestimated. So they could end up taking some teams by surprise, perhaps. But they haven't really played super close against the likes of Riot and Fury. So I'm not sure, if we're going to see them take it to the next level. But but who knows? I mean, you could see some upsets against some other teams. Phoenix. Phoenix has also had some pretty good results. They played close against Scandal. They've beaten Scandal in the past, so they're definitely kind of right on the verge of being in the mix as well. They'll be playing Riot the third round, I guess, on Thursday. So I think that'll be kind of a good game to watch to see kind of where they're at, if they're peaking at the right time, and what they're going to bring for the weekend.
Mike, are there other games that or other teams that you're interested in watching as well?
Oh, absolutely. Well, in the first round this is first round on Thursday. You've got the Traffic Capitals game. The second round, you've got three great games in the women's division. Brute Squad Nemesis. Nemesis beat Brute Squad twice this year, so that should be a strong game. Capitals Showdown in the second round will be phenomenal. Showdown didn't really. Showdown, I think, went to Labor Day this year, but no one's really seen them.
Yeah, we haven't heard too much from them this year.
Yeah, so we don't know, but they obviously have some great players, and sorry about that. They've got some great players, and that's going to be a great game. And then also, Phoenix Ozone. Now, Ozone's picked up a lot of people this year. I think Ozone's way underseeded. And remember, 2 years ago, Ozone almost beat Riot at National. So that pool C with Riot, Phoenix, and Ozone in it is going to be something. And then, of course, in the third round, Molly Brown Scandal is going to be a great game. I think that's going to be one of the ones that Next Gen broadcasting. That'll be a phenomenal game because Molly Brown has two really, really strong players that are just, you pay money to watch, and Opie Payne and Manu that they picked up from Fury. So Scandal's going to be looking great.
Tyler, what about you in what you've been picking up on in the women's division? Have teams caught your eye as competitors that can compete at the level of Fury, Riot, and maybe also Traffic and Capitals?
And looking at the pools, the big teams that stand out to me are Brute Squad and Capitals being 3 seeds in both their pools. To me, those are both two teams that can certainly compete with a Fury or a Riot or a Traffic or a Molly Brown, who are all the first seeds in the pool. I think those are the teams to look for if you're going to try to arrive early and get some good seats to a good game. That said, I think there's always upset potential across the board for a team to get hot and surprise someone throughout the division. But if my money's down, it's going to be Capitals or Brute Squad to turn some heads.
So if we have this idea of teams that may surprise us, what I'm curious about is if that really matters, or if it's just a Fury Riot game and we've got Traffic, we've got Capitals. Are those teams really the story? And if they are the story, then what's going to make or break a victory on one of their parts?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm still curious about the Capitals, just having lost, or not lost, but, not bringing a bunch of their top players to the series. I mean, I think that's going to make a big difference. And I think, that must be part of what happened at regionals, I assume. So I'm really curious about whether they're going to be in the mix or not. But I think... so for that reason, I guess I'd put Traffic above the Capitals. But as far as who's going to take down Fury and Riot, I don't know. I have no idea. That's what makes it interesting.
Fury's won 5 in a row. I think they're the story until somebody steps up and makes them not the story. You have to believe that both of Fury and Riot are going to advance the power pools on Friday, and they're going to play each other. So that's going to be a chance for either one of those teams to really, send a statement to the other team, to say, we're the story or we're the story. But this year, I tend to agree with what Matty wrote in his summary of the women's division. I think it's possible for some other teams to step up and challenge them. And there's a number of teams that can do it. I mean, I think you're looking at 10, 11 deep this year. I think Ozone could surprise some people. I mean, I think Capitals, can have some good results. I don't think that's going to surprise anyone. And we'll see. We'll see about Showdown. We'll see Molly Brown. We'll see Scandal, who's picked up some great players. It's going to be a fun. It's going to be a fun couple of days.
Tyler, you're very familiar with Riot and have no doubt been familiar with Fury as well as a result. What has been make or break concepts for these teams that has allowed them to excel to victory or kind of fall flat? And something to look at with Riot is they've been in that finals position many times in the past few years, and they've been up in one instance as well and lost big time. What is it that has affected previous Riot teams? What is allowing them to succeed or fail this year?
Huh. What a question.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm good at that.
I would say for a team to really challenge Fury, there's two Furies. There's the Fury that exists in somebody's head, and there's the Fury that exists in reality. And the Fury that exists in people's head is this one that has won championship after championship after championship, is just the dominant force. And then there's the actual one that they're playing. And that Fury has lost Manu. Alicia White has played with them irregularly at most for the entire season. Georgia Bosher, who is just a force, is not living in the Bay Area anymore. She has moved to Madison. I mean, there's a lot going on with the Fury that they're actually playing that that makes them beatable. But if teams get it stuck in their head that they're playing against this force, that's going to really work against them. So it's sort of a mental game. In terms of Riot, there's no question in my mind that they have the athletes to do it. They have been prepping themselves mentally in a very good way to put themselves in a position to do it. However, they've been hampered by injuries more so than many other teams. They've had essentially the best puller in the game, Rory Titcomb, tear her ACL, so she's done. At I think their first practice, Callie Ma, who is a name that in 2 years will become a mainstay in Women's Ultimate, she tore her ACL in the first practice. They've had numerous other small injuries set them back and reduce their roster considerably. So I think had they been fully injury-free, you'd be seeing a different team, but they simply aren't, and that's been the year they've had. So I think those have been the two storylines, is who we see Fury bring and who the other team prepares against and mentally sets himself towards, and how we see Riot perform with a bit of a smaller roster.
Okay.
So, just to correct one thing, Elliot, that Riot actually hasn't been in the finals the last 2 years. It's been 2 years ago. It was Root Squad Fury, and last year it was Capitals Fury.
It's true.
So I actually give Riot a lot of credit if they're really working on their mental game, because they've had a couple of losses, some surprising losses at Nationals the last couple of years, and for them to sort of sit back and reflect on how they can get better and actually work on their mental game, that's actually a credit to them of sort of really saying to themselves, how are we going to get better? So good for them for doing that.
Well, I think Pool A I'm going to give to Fury. Pool B I think will be interesting, but I think I'm going to pick Traffic over Capitals as it stands now. Pool C I think is going to go everything according to plan. I'm going to take Riot, and Pool D, I'm going to go with Scandal.
Interesting.
So that may be my hometown bias, but no, I mean, I really think that Scandal is itching for some revenge. They lost to Molly Brown the last time we saw them, so I think that's just going to be a really interesting game. I think that's one that's going to be hard to predict, but that'll be my final pick for Pool D. Semis, I've got I think we're going to go with Fury over Scandal and Traffic over Riot.
Wow.
And what's your final?
And my final, I think the money's still on Fury.
Fury over Traffic. All right, Mike. What about you?
Well, I'm not going to be that much different, so I'll give you the power pools of what I see the power pools being. So Pool A, I'm going to say Fury and Brute Squad advance, with apologies to my friend Lori and Nemesis. Pool C, I'm going to say Riot and Ozone. I'm going to pick Ozone surprising Phoenix. So that gives Fury, Brute Squad, Riot, Ozone as one of the power pools. And I'll say Traffic Capitals in Pool B, and Molly Brown Scandal, with Scandal over Molly Brown in Pool B. So the other power pool would be Traffic Capitals, Molly Brown Scandal. And semis, I'm the same as Melissa, Fury over Scandal, and Traffic over Riot. In the finals, I'll pick Fury over Traffic.
Interesting. All right. And Tyler, what do you have for your spread?
I'm surprised by Mike's Fury Traffic final. I still like Fury, Riot, and Capitals to be the top 3 teams at this tournament. Who I see in the finals is going to be tough. It's going to be whichever team I think stumbles, and it's hard to say. I think Fury could. I think this could be the year in which we see Fury beaten at least once at Nationals. Do I expect that? No. Fury has proven too often that they can win at the right time, especially with a good coach. But do I think that they could be beaten? I think in this year, more than in years past, yes.
All right. Well, I think we have our spread and our expectations. Thank you all for joining us to cover and discuss Women's Division. Mike Lawler, Melissa Witmer, Tyler Kinley. Thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Alex.
thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
See
that
everybody.
is-
See you in Sarasota.
Yeah, we'll see you all in Sarasota.
Glad.
Sounds great.
Thanks to USA Ultimate, Sky Magazine will be down in Sarasota offering unprecedented coverage, including a live blog, live audio play-by-play and commentary, and expert analysis from the likes of Tyler Kinley, Brian Jones, Kyle Weisbrod, Maya Ziv, Ian Toner, and more.
We'll see you in Sarasota.
That was a killer, guys.